Nowadays, it's happening all too frequently. Tuning to a TV channel or audio frequency to hear and see once again a sad display of racial indecency. And how conveniently do these stories come together? You know where, placed right after a sponsor's message aired as breaking news just before evening weather. And furthermore, 2 minutes later, we hear about the rich just making more cheddar. Clever. I mean, hey, it's all just news, right? So maybe if they clump it all together, it'll smooth over, numbing the pain so we'll feel better. As onlookers just being fed soothing meds, bottled up in a nonchalant depiction of another troubled youth dead, scenes of another line on the concrete edge alongside the flashing hues of blue and red, oh, and of course, whites. Did I forget to mention the color of officers, National Guard, and feds? So that's how our nation's colors are to be viewed? Surrounding a lifeless black body on the news with the details of the situation all misconstrued? Because what really is a senseless killing gets passed off as repercussions for breaking the rules, with the only question being, whose? Excuse me if I didn't know officers could spew commands from their jaws that weren't laws. I was under the impression that there was this one thing called just cause. But now we get hit with the phrase, you better do it just cause I said so. Now don't get me wrong, we know you have the authority, Popo, but you're talking to a group of people that are rarely scared, so I'm gonna need you to tell me a reason that's a little more substantial. Speechless. As they silently contemplate the disrespect, now they wanna make us speechless. As an example of what happens when you try to correct. That's even if they wait for an answer. Some would all too quickly be at your neck, simply because they can, having no reasoning in hand was never part of their plan. Wasn't too long ago, they could do whatever they wanted without any explanation. Just maybe a slap on the wrist for opting to use lethal force instead of slapping cuffs on our wrists. And it makes my mind reminisce whenever I hear news stories like this, where a cop having a bad day decided we were in the way as we walked the streets trying to get a bag of chips, feeling as if the badge they wear supplies the right to kill for no reason in the line of duty. But that's just like a married man saying simply because he has a wedding ring, he's able to lay down with any woman being fond of her beauty, since all sex is honorable after marriage, and technically killing is legal given the right merits, but no. See, that oath you took means you commit to that position fully. You can't pick and choose the responsibilities you inherit. As police, you should serve and protect. Not just protect yourself and serve us with bullets, because that bull lets others in certain races think they can be a part of the threat, opening the door to take us back a bit. I call it being on that stereotypical ship. And it resembles the one we rode enslaved, making that ocean-wide trip. And they try so hard to keep us on it, but wait patiently for us to flip so they can throw us overboard quick, keeping us in this culture on a very tight grip and a very short leash, having us all like, sheesh. Can I live without you placing on me all this constant grief? Could you instead supply me with something more remedial, please? And this time, could it not involve a stretcher or the correctional office or gelling sector? Because I'm totally convinced that my people deserve something better. Instead of you waiting for us to fall in your setup traps and pick up our bodies like the collector. I'm tired of watching scenes on projectors among black people causing us all to respond alike, saying that whole situation would have gone differently had the suspect been white. And whether it's true or not, even the science adds to the plight. Because photographers know black is the best background to have when cameras flash, it absorbs the light. So our situations take the shine off of scandalous actions from other racial types. I mean, are people with our pigmentation that much easier to indict? Just further promoting that stereotype, and I get it, we all do it to some extent. You think not, then tell me. Why is your comfort zone susceptible to who you sit next to in the audience? Why not sit beside the young cat with the fitted cap tats or such and such? It's probably because there's someone who you thought you couldn't trust. Have you on edge the whole time and just like a pulley ready to raise up. So instead, you choose a seat near someone a little more clean cut. Because discomfort uses fear to instill internal convictions that are often real. These instincts push your survival will, but it's a huge difference when an urge drives you to kill. Especially someone unarmed with their hands raised in air. As you run up so in that boy's brown eyes you can stare, but not be merciful enough to allow his brown-skinned life to be spared. I wonder if you thought about it or even cared before taking another young man's life. Or is that the continual race elimination? Making one less nigga on the street always ready to fight, one less hustler on the block trying to flip a stack by midnight, or one less brother on the mic or ball court sporting his Nikes. All those people have is their word and their balls. Let's take both in one swipe. since that's what some people think all this culture contains. A half full of entertainers while the other half are just rebels untrained. And as inaccurate as that statement is, my heart breaks when we add fuel to the flame. Just like the new hire at the cash register, we struggle in supplying the right change, with many aspirations in this culture aimed toward Jay-Z, Beyonce, and LeBron James. Now, I can't knock them. They're at the top of their game, becoming great at what they do. And you're no different. You're able to be the exact same way too. But if we limit our goals to just one industrial group, we make it easier for them to place us in the inbox too, placing us in a box. I guess that's real blackmail. And it's sent to you through lyrics of music and unruly visuals of black males, where we disrespect our women or lust after vixens shaking their tail, where we always applying for welfare but rarely use it to fare well, and killings in the news, interviews, parents telling colored children farewell, from black on black crime in which we often react like, oh well, but then only want to step up when a black person is hit with another white man's shells. Then we choose to march after we strap up our boots, while in the meantime, some stragglers with different motives start to loot, supplying just another reason for more injustice action to ensue, breaking up the foundation of the protest, causing our effects to be uproot, forcing the city to bring in more troop, and lately it just feels like a constant loop, making it hard for me to clearly see if these situations cause our race to rise up or stoop. Because if we really want to tell the truth, why do we always come out in waves for scandals but are rarely seen in voting booths? Why do we only want to change the system when things go wrong, otherwise we're aloof? Why do some of us not care about our own lives and appearances but want to be taken seriously when addressing governmental issues? Do you think they care more about yourself than you do? Or will change laws and processes if after circumstances like this you pursue? When they know all our yelling and protesting dies down after the judge drops the gavel, dragging our feet back home through the gravel, discouraged by another case lost, another bad end to our battle. Do you really believe that they'll stop killing us if they never see our face among their board of directors and official panels? But yet, our voices are still placed in that black box. And they only pay attention to those when things go down. But if we steadily climb the mountain to where the white clouds surround, we'd one day see the mountaintop, the same place Martin Luther King Jr. found. And please don't ever get me wrong. Trust, I feel the pain. But it's also sad that unless a white man caps a brother, it's rare you see our people involved in anything. We should always be taking a stand, not just using these incidents as a cane. I believe King's dream was for us all to unite, from the upper class all the way down to the lowest type. And now I think it's time for us to ask, what can I do? So there's not a Trayvon Martin sequel or a Mike Brown version number 2. Because if you're waiting for white folks to change, that may not come this decade or the next few. But just like every stereotype, it's never all inclusive. So to the officers actually holding down their post, I gotta say, I salute you. I can understand your cautiousness. Criminals often can be so elusive, but please don't be so intrusive to just one race. My people aren't all trying to shoot you. Some of us actually wear suits to work for jobs we maintain. We're not all scattered brains, so please don't always scatter our brains. And if we just have to be detained for a less lethal spot, could you at least try to aim? I know that may be a tough mind frame and it's not always that easy, but see, when I left home this morning, my mom thought she'd see me this evening. And though we don't sit around the table eating, I do have a family. So could you choose to understand me before you cut off my breathing? You see, I don't want this to be misleading because really, I don't hate the white man. I know too many having success depended on them supplying a hand. But don't ever think our racial tension is something I don't understand. I just aim my fury toward those who believe black people don't deserve a chance. But they're just ignorant to the fact that we can still dance on uneven ground. And when the playing field isn't level, we'll still get the touchdown. And when they're busy trying to inflict us, we have remedies our ancestors passed down to doctor our towns, ringlead all these clowns, and we'll fight our way back no matter who tries to pound. Because our crown they can't take. They tried and found that was a mistake. But no matter who holds us down, we'll eventually elevate. They may place us in that black box, but those still live off taken away. Just because our skin may be dark doesn't mean our souls are opaque. But remember in these dark days that black always absorbs the light. It takes this enlightenment to rise above all the blight and show them true peacefulness, because two wrongs never made us right and it'll never make us white, acceptable in their eyes. So let's fight for equality and letting our minds rise, and aspiring to do things that they'd call far cries, because greatness is what our heart cries for, and we won't compromise. They may think they brought us here and act like they'll take us out, but our lives were never in their hands. Make sure you prove it, so there's no doubt.